So what I wait now. All right, good night, everyone joining the live broadcast tonight. This is another week in review. It is Saturday, 4th October 2025 to everyone joining on YouTube tonight. For those of you that would have joined on Facebook or wondering where is it live on Facebook, we're no longer live on Facebook and we're no longer live on TikTok. We are live strictly on YouTube right now only. And then, we would have short clips up on Facebook and YouTube subsequently after the live broadcast. But good night to everyone joining across on YouTube right now. Thank you so much for joining tonight's show. We have a lot to get to. I want to get to what the front page would have been. Pictures, come on, front page, pictures. All right, front page. Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar saying that I'll go to Venezuela. All right, and this is specifically to discuss with Maduro about the dragon gas deal that is. All right, come back. Prime Minister going to Venezuela to talk dragon gas. Now, the Prime Minister, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, did say that the media would have been the ones that blew the Venezuela situation, out of proportion, and it's only the media that spoke of a war, and I guess nice even face that'll be. But anyway, outside of Prime Minister wanting to go to dragon gas, I really do think that maybe some members of her government, her administration, probably a little bit mad. And I feel like all of them are in the names Alexander, because Roger Alexander, as Homeland Security Minister to the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, is today saying that we should try children as adults. And if we try children as adults, maybe we should try adults like children, because he had to be the biggest child in the government. Honestly, the biggest child in the government. But I must give him some kudos. The murder toll, murder toll is down. All right, and this is according, again, to TTPS reports. You can leave, right? Murder toll is down. So it was 475 last year, and it's down by 42.5% this year. And, I'm not gonna lie. I won't lie. When we're talking about decreasing murder toll, I would like to see it outside of a state of emergency. That's what I want to see. I want to see it outside of a state of emergency and not just during the state of emergency. So while the murder toll is down, as you can see, it's down by 42.5%. Last year, the murder toll was 475. This year is 273. And you can see the comparison between PNM and UNC, because it red for PNM, yellow for UNC. And while it might be true that it is true that under PNM, the murder toll spikes out of control. Under UNC, yes, it is. I guess people do like to murder people under the UNC administration. They like to chop. But under UNC, it is 273. Under PNM, it is 475. So I guess what that tells you is that black people shoot, Indian people chop, apparently. But under the state of emergency, the murder toll is down. Yes. But there are still some very crucial issues that Trinidad and Tobago still has to deal with. And that is one issue of school violence. We saw where a teenager, 14-year-old or less, I don't know, a teenager would have been, I have this story here somewhere, would have been caught coming to school. Right, there it is. A student held with cannabis on the compound. A teenage boy was arrested on a school compound after he was found in possession of a quantity of cannabis. And then the minister, Roger Alexander, was asked about this, and he was like, something about a banana. And a banana is a banana, or some stupidness like that he was telling the media. And now, today, he's telling the media, or is saying, that children should be tried as adults. So I'm going to take you to that clip by Roger Alexander. Scroll down. Go here. Go here. Try children as adults. Pull it in remix. Quickly. All right, so I want to take you to Roger Alexander today, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm holding my head and I'm bowling. That's all I'm doing. Because it ain't making sense, but this is Roger Alexander.
These items were destined for inside the maximum security prison in Aruca. An intelligence effort led by Police Commissioner Alistair Gavaru on Friday night foiled the attempt. Police say a 13-year-old boy from Urupun Gardens and a 26-year-old from Tunapuna were held in a targeted search of a river in the area. Among the items found include 1,000 grams of cannabis, 256 packs of cigarettes, 15 cell phones, 16 drone batteries, 12 charging blocks, 16 headsets, 15 USB cables, and 4 nail clippers. The Homeland Security Minister praised the intelligence and cooperation between the police service and prisons, but went further in saying the nation may have to soon look at trying children in an adult court.
We must now look at where we can, definitely in the law, treat someone who's of a childish age, though, as an adult in a court of law because of his actions. We have no choice.
Such an occurrence is not alien. Countries such as the United States, England, Wales and Jamaica have set the precedent. Minister Alexander also referenced the fire at St. Benedict's College this week, which fire officers say may not have been accidental.
How come, and answer this for me, how come that these same young children, they don't burn down their Nike sneakers when it is bought for them, but they are lighting fires at the nation's schools?
He fears children who commit crimes feel they will not face the full brunt of the law.
They are making joke about serious matters, believing that all they will receive is a bare slap on the wrist.
Minister Alexander says not everyone in the prison service should be painted with the same brush, promising to continue his war against criminals until he says citizens are safe.
Imagine that. I don't... Oh, God. Jesus. I think that man think he's still on TV6 and all. I think he with Marlon still. Like, you're talking to Marlon Hopkinson or whatever on TV6. You're not. You're not talking to Marlon Hopkinson. You're speaking to the nation of Trinidad and Tobago. And I would ask that you do it with some sort of class and some sort of, I don't know, boy. Maybe some things that you lack as Minister of National Security. I don't know. Or Homeland Security, whichever we're calling it now. But you want to try children as adults in Trinidad and Tobago, and you want to set the precedent simply because you think that the children they're not operating as though they have any sort of understanding that your actions have consequences. But a 14-year-old being tried as an adult doesn't make sense to me. Maybe what we should look at is actually telling parents to instill values in their children. And if parents can't instill values in their children, then try the adult, try the parent. If it is your child coming home from school and you're not checking your child's book bag and you are allowing that child to just come home and go back to school every single day as though, you know, there's no sort of hierarchy in the household, and your child is found with grams of marijuana in school, I say charge the parent. And that is a precedent in the United States as well. If it is you are neglecting your child, you as a parent is to be held responsible for that. And not just the child. Yeah, the child will be placed in a home. And yes, you could look at several different aspects to make sure the child is scared straight. And that's a pun for a program in the United States called Scare Straight, which Trinidad and Tobago does not have. In fact, in case you're kind of forgetting the blasted issue in Trinidad and Tobago, one of the issue, Roger Alexander, is that the same people that you put the children in a home with, abusing them, sexually abusing them. Gary Griffith, former commissioner of police, would have showed us several white-collar crimes in these homes. Don't forget all of the things that happen under PNM that you say you don't want to happen under UNC. But if you don't want it to happen under UNC, then do your blasted job. That's all. As the Minister of National Security, do your blasted job. You want to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk about banana and talk about some stupidness to the media inside Parliament and wherever you're at. But the one thing that you're not doing is your job as the Minister of Homeland Security. That's the one thing you're not doing. Ironically, every time you hear Alexander talk, it's some bullshit. Always some bullshit. It's always this, always that, always the other that nobody could comprehend, nobody could understand, which is why people losing faith in this administration to actually curb crime or bring down crime, which is why the UNC have to resort to a narrative about telling people crime down from 2024 to 2025. It's because of a state of emergency. Don't let them fool you with that bullshit. It's because of a state of emergency. Only reason. The UNC has done absolutely nothing different when it comes to crime right now, outside of just talking to the people. And 100%, we'll wait for a budget. But while we're waiting for a budget, you see Alexander, all the Alexanders, put like a muzzle on them. All the Alexanders, the Philip Alexander, the Roger Alexander, and any other Alexander, all you want to put there. Because, oh Jesus Christ, you all know how hard it is for activists to come after the fact to defend bullshit? All the time? All the time, so? One of them was with, don't tell me hush. One of the times was with the cryptocurrency. I in groups with activists who afraid to come out and talk and say, hey, Kamala, no, please, leave with cryptocurrency. Simply because they don't want to lose the position. That's why they don't want to lose the position. I don't care about that. I don't care about that. The fact is, you can't come and tell me that you want to try children as adults because children wouldn't go and quote this, what you say, go back to the clip, burn the Nike shoes. They wouldn't burn the Nike shoes, but you want to burn down a school building. That's what, I'm not condoning them doing that. 100% not condoning them doing that. But you had to get to the root of the issue in Trinidad and Tobago, and the root is at home. What the parents doing? Which is why Keith Christopher Rowley said to the people, said to mothers out here, if you lay down with a hyena, we expect to raise. We expect to raise. If parents lying down with hyenas, if women not even choosing the men wisely in this place. One statement that he said that was good but still controversial, ironically. If those people lying down with fleas, we expect to get, or lying down with dogs, we expect them to get up with, or we expect them to make. Ironically, in Trinidad and Tobago, we have a serious issue, a real serious issue. And UNC campaigned on fixing those issues, but you see, this statement is not it. And we'll come back to some more about it. Stay tuned, Trinidad and Tobago. We'll be back right after this.
To SNS Facade Group of Companies, a dynamic community-driven group serving multiple industries with excellence and integrity. At SNS Facade Supermarket, we're committed to community, providing vessel export delivery, custom food services, local delivery, wholesale solutions, fresh produce, in-house bakery, and premium meats. Discover relaxation reimagined at Sunset Beach Resort, with beachfront stays and dining that blends local flavor with ocean views, perfect for families and couples. At Cuts and Curve Fitness Center, where health meets lifestyle, with personal training, meal plans, a full gym, and on-site cafe. The SNS Facade Group of Companies, building value, trust, and community across everything we do.
Parents of students writing SCA in March 2026. Our Tuesday and Thursday class is filled, but we have heard your calls. Starting this October on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., we have a new class geared for success. We cover all 3 subjects: mathematics, English language arts, and creative writing. We have perfected the art of pushing students to success. So if you want to get your child into one of these limited spaces, send us a WhatsApp message now at 370-9426 and book your spot before all are gone and give your child the best chance at success.
Listen, we need stronger advocacy for our members.
Enough talk. We have to go to court.
Focus on the mental and the physical health. Every day is RIP.
Everyone's voice needs to be heard. Communication is a two-way process.
We need to be financially viable. The members must know that their dues are benefiting them.
Team, we can do this. It's time. We can accomplish all of this.
October 14th, it's time for the Tutor Rebirth. It's time to come together, together we are tutor. It's time to start over, together we are tutor. Come on, you need a team strong and unified, who understand the teacher's plight. Deserve better, we say. Upgrades, insurance, and just pay. Come October 14th, vote and vote. You must vote the Rebirth team. It's time to come together, together we are tutor. It's time, now is the time now. Time to start over, together we are tutor. Think about your experience. Does it miss? Are you fed up with nonsense? Bring your friends and your colleagues. Cast your vote for the Rebirth team. Everybody, come on! It's time to come together. Together we are tutor. Toss it down. It's time. Make your vote time to start over. Together we are tutor. With Crystal is clear to see, a man of integrity. Dwaraka, back on spot, he's giving it all he's got. Say Nigel Figaro, and watch your problems go. To fulfill the member plan, if anyone's here I can. Dylan has the key to financial transparency. Communication, creativity, put me girl aside, but that's me. It's time to vote, time to come together, together we are tutor. It's time to start over, together we are tutor. Remember your struggle and your pain. We need help and nonsense, time for change. All your friends, colleagues, your team. Cast your vote, let us live the dream now. It's time to start over, together we are tutor. We have to vote. It's time, everybody, time to come together, together we are tutor. Tired of
Listen, I ain't gonna lie. I swear, at times, I just had to wonder if this government mad at times. And today, I had to ask myself that honestly for this show, because Jesus Christ. Because I feel as though we giving the PNM, or the government giving the PNM the platform to actually say, well, they're mad, and actually have something good to campaign on. I feel like there's not enough noise or something going around, and the UNC want to allow the PNM to comment and say this and that and the other. Because going on with communications, my goodness, how to be that? But I need to remind, let me the mouse. I need to remind Alexander that it is the former Commissioner of Police, Gary Griffith, that spoke significantly about corruption in Trinidad and Tobago and white-collared crime. And one of the things that was raised, in case he forgets, is the fact that children are not safe out here. They're not safe. And especially when you put children in a home, they're not safe. They're buggering people in homes. What's going on? They are sexually assaulting children in homes, and children are running away from homes. YTC is a major example of it, where children escape, teenagers escaped YTC and said why they run away. It's because they're being raped. They were being raped. Go back to the news story. Akil Chambers, buggered, raped by senior officials in government. The CARICOM report spoke significantly about the PP administration, saying that they were human trafficking of Venezuelans and just random people, and they are sexual predators in this place. So that's why I find it amusing, not even amusing, but it's more so surprising that Alexander will come to say, like, we try children as adults, to then do what? The United National Congress has been one that spoke significantly about rehabilitation. If the UNC speaks highly about rehabilitation and Alexander didn't catch the memo back then, I'll understand. Because back then he was bad talking the UNC to an extent. He was a PNM, everybody know that. All right? But the UNC, in case you don't know Alexander, speaks highly about rehabilitation and a rehabilitation program for prisoners coming back and reintegrating them into society. We cannot take young people out of schools and throw them in jails. That is not fixing anything. When you're comparing Trinidad and Tobago to the United States and suggesting that, well, it's a system that the U.S. have, my sir, the U.S. is a much bigger country than Trinidad and Tobago, and the level of killings taking place in U.S. schools rather than Trinidad schools is you can't even count it. The U.S. right now and their issue is the U.S. issue. Trinidad and Tobago issue is a unique issue, a very unique one. Our problem here in Trinidad and Tobago is not particularly the citizens, that is the poor citizens and all. It is people like you who's sitting on the top, who climb the ranks. However you climb the ranks and you become Minister of National Security or Minister of Homeland Security, it's people like former administrations, former people from those administrations that came in and raided Trinidad and Tobago for every single thing, called a heart. And all of these people that raid Trinidad and Tobago for literally everything it could offer and left nothing for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Kamla Persad-Bissessar is on a great path for progressing Trinidad and Tobago. Unfortunately, people like both Alexanders that they're saying whatever they want. I don't know if they're vetting it, if Kamla Persad-Bissessar vetting it, but they're saying what they want. You calling for children to be tried as adults and talking to the media just as how PNM will talk to the media and walk away from the media. That's walking away from the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Take pattern from your Prime Minister, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, and my Prime Minister, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, where she will stop, speak, and interact with the media. That's the only way this idiot on CNC3 could have spoken to Kamala Persad-Bissessar and gotten such a long, lengthy interview. I believe that she's doing her best and she's saying all that she could say. But again, it's her people around her, part of that cabinet, Alexander, both, that just doing what they want, boy. Saying the first thing that come on their mind, boy. And then everybody will adopt it as government policy. Is what? We agree with the police officers in schools. We want to give it time. There was a clip again from a police officer playing tennis or you know, that racket thing with children. That is more of what we need. More of what we need is community policing. That we need. The Minister of Education today, and God bless him, talk about laptops by the end of September for school children, for Form 1s, which is good. And it better be a better initiative than what it was back in 2010 to 2015. And I think it would be a better initiative. But you can't tell me now that the issue is that children wouldn't light the Nike, but they're lighting the school afire. I understand. Trust me, I do. Your message should be one of compassion, Alexander, and not one of hate. That's what your message should be for the nation of Trinidad and Tobago. More of understanding, and understanding that young people today not given hope, and they're not given anything to go to really clam on to now tell them and to threaten young people, to threaten my generation, a generation before, about jail time, simply because, it's not a simple thing, but just because you don't know how to deal with the issue, I'm not accepting that. I'm not accepting that, and I will not accept it from the UNC administration. I'm not accepting it, especially for administration that spoke significantly about reform and understanding and compassion. I will not accept it. I'm telling you right now, it is something that I will not accept, and I will call it out, Alexander, because you're mad. Because if we need to, we will take a glimpse back into your past, you know. And I think now I understand a little bit that Alexander is really more for a police state. Probably. Because extrajudicial killings by your, under your watch as superintendent or head of sort or whatever, don't forget Noel Diamond Jacob. The 3 men right there in Mova Laventil, I will never forget. I will never forget them on almost every show that I speak about crime and criminality and national security. I will always bring these people up. We know, I've heard multiple things about Roger Alexander from Mova. We could go down his past. We could go down. We could talk about it. All right, the Police Complaints Authority, they were told about, and reports were brought about Noel Diamond Jacob, Israel Clinton, and the 3 men there that was shot in Mova, where police officers tell them exit the vehicle and they put their hands out the window, but you still open fire on all of them. Because people in Trinidad and Tobago, they're trigger happy, the police service trigger happy. And probably it's being ran now in terms of national security by a trigger-happy police officer or national security minister or homeland security minister, whichever one you want to call it, right? I don't know, maybe. But you need competency, boy. Competency in government, and UNC is supposed to be offering that competency, that level of competency in government. And I still believe that the UNC offers that. But through this Alexander, and then the next Alexander, and then Kamala going to Venezuela, I feel like, whew, God really running from heaven, boy, because he's not on earth. He's not here. Well, they ain't talking to him. Maybe they're talking to Mother Lakshmi. Anyway, so I want to go to, let's go to the U.S. strike, because I think the narrative is, and what I would like to believe and what I've always said on every single show, let me make it clear, I 100% support what the United States doing in the Caribbean Sea. 100% support it. And I think one of the reasons why crime is down just a little bit is because the United States is out at our borders, basically. Well, in the Caribbean Sea, threatening drug cartels and cartels on the whole coming out of Venezuela. Yes, 100% it might be because of something different that the United States is there, as persons say oil, this, that, and the other. But I do believe that, or I really do support the United States being there. So the United States would have mentioned that they would have taken out another vessel. So the U.S. strikes another narco-trafficking boat off Venezuela, this time killing 4 persons. And this is this is as military buildup grows. The United States military carried out a lethal strike early on Friday, October 3rd, which would be yesterday, on a vessel off the coast of Venezuela, killing 4 people aboard in an operation, the Pentagon says, which was ordered by President Donald Trump. Now, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth announced the action on a post on Twitter, or on X, sorry, saying that the strike targeted a narco-trafficking vessel affiliated with a designated terrorist organization operating on a known transit route. He stated that U.S. intelligence, and he said, quote, without a doubt, confirmed the boat was carrying substantial amounts of narcotics aboard, and that 4 men were aboard the vessel and they were taken out. The Pentagon said that the strike took place in international waters just off the coast of Venezuela. So tensions rising. It will continue to rise, unfortunately, and that I support 100%. Get a camera beside after the clip. Restart that video. Take a look. This is the U.S. strike off the coast of Venezuela yesterday.
The Pentagon announcing another U.S. strike on an alleged drug trafficking boat decimated off the coast of Venezuela. Secretary Pete Hegseth says 4 men were killed. He described them as narco-terrorists. Despite questions about evidence and due process, the administration insists lethal strikes like these will continue. Here's ABC's chief global affairs correspondent, Martha Raddatz.
Tonight, the Pentagon releasing this video of a deadly military airstrike on what officials say, without providing evidence, was a drug boat attempting to smuggle narcotics into the U.S. The massive explosion sending debris raining down in international waters just off the coast of Venezuela, flames shooting from the vessel. The U.S. says 4 people were killed.
The president has directed these actions, these strikes against Venezuelan drug cartels and these boats, consistent with his responsibility to protect the United States interests abroad.
Secretary Pete Hegseth saying our intelligence, without a doubt, confirmed that this vessel was trafficking narcotics. The people on board were narco-terrorists. Today's strike is the 4th known U.S. attack on suspected Venezuelan drug boats since early September.
We have proof. All you have to do is look at the cargo that was like it's spattered all over the ocean. Big bags of cocaine and fentanyl all over the place.
And with the Trump administration has now told Congress as rationale for the strikes that they consider drug smugglers unlawful combatants with whom we are involved in armed conflict. But critics question the legality.
I swear, Donald Trump is the greatest. Donald Trump is the greatest. Donald Trump said you could look on the ocean and see the drugs scattered everywhere. And I looking like, wait, which part? But I believe you know, but which part it is? So we can't see. We're not in the Caribbean Sea. We're not in Venezuela. We can't see nothing. All right. You could provide some more HD visuals, and then you could tell us that. But I support the drug operation there in the Caribbean Sea, Maduro, whatever. Person say, oh, they want peace, they want peace, they want peace. Say Venezuela, they want peace with nobody. It's only now Venezuela is studying to ramp up security and ramp up this at the borders and that at the borders. What was going on for the last decade? What was going on? What was going on for the last decade? The Venezuelans flocking left, right, and center. Left, right, and center. What I want to see in Trinidad is mass deportation start happening, just as what Trump doing in the U.S. Because it is needed across the world, which is why I support Donald Trump's speech at the United Nations General Assembly when he spoke to the EU and Middle Eastern countries and say, hey, your countries are going to hell. And it is simply because of illegal immigration or illegal aliens entering into your country, and they're ramping up the crime rate. There's a reason why Singapore is almost, and Amsterdam, right, is one of the most peaceful places in the world. And it's simply because the population size is too small for crime to continue. And Trinidad and Tobago, with 1.3, 1.4 million people, shouldn't be going through all the crime it's going through. It should not. We should not have to deal with that. And part of it is simply because of illegal immigration. And if you don't want to believe me, go back to the blasted Vice News report. You have all that to see for yourself. Don't come and tell me, no, it's not that, and it's just because of this and that and the other. It's because of illegal immigration. It's because Venezuelans have free range into Trinidad and Tobago. And it's because your black ass so dotish at times. What you do as business owners is hire Venezuelans to work for cheap labor. And then the state doesn't do nothing about it. The state turn a blind eye. So unemployment rate goes up. Some Trinidadians don't want to work in here and don't want to do this and don't want to do that and don't want to do the other. That the Venezuelans are the easiest to hire because they'll do everything. I always say, and maybe you all should start to probe this, look at Coop's Car Wash. It's only Venezuelans, a lion. Somebody take a car, go down to Coop's Car Wash and tell me if you see a black person washing your car. Because you don't see it. And maybe they're here legally, maybe they're not. I don't know. But it's the jackass Keith Rowley that went back in COVID and say 14,000 come register for free. Whether you're illegal or you're not illegal, just register. Everybody could register in Trinidad and Tobago. We refuse in this country to pass asylum-seeking laws. So we don't even recognize asylum seekers in Trinidad and Tobago. We don't do it. Yet, one administration want to teach the country Spanish. The other one say we don't want to teach them Spanish. We don't know what we want to do as a people. We don't know where we want to go as a country because the only thing we're concerned about is corruption and taking money and giving everybody else money but keeping it in Trinidad and Tobago, which is why we're seeing our demise today, which is why Forex difficult to get. And I could show you. You see these cards? We have Republic. I ain't gonna show my pen. But we have RBC. You see these Visa cards? These mean nothing. Republic Bank, these mean nothing. The only limit you could probably get on a credit card is about $500. You can spend about $3,000, $2,400 USD. It means nothing today simply because people like them, like P&M, and some parts of UNC, not really, because they did a good job back 2010, 2015. But I'm not going to be biased. But governments ran this country into the ground. Plenty of people don't care about it. A lot of people don't care about it because they could fly out and go wherever they want to go, or they say they had to work for the TTD, right? So they work for the TTD. But governments ran this country into the ground, real far into the ground, so much so that even unique woodworking, pick up shop and go on to Guyana. All right? And the Guyanese economy is going to crash very soon, don't worry, because the only reason why people in Guyana is to get US and take the US right out of Guyana. I will warn the Guyana president in front, well, anyways, I'll warn him. Don't allow people to just take the USD and leave your country. Keep it in your country. Build your reserves. Do something that Trinidad didn't do. You said that you don't want to run your energy sector like Trinidad and Tobago ran its energy sector, then don't do it. We allowed for persons to take USD out of this country and then never return to Trinidad and Tobago. Call that. PNM said, and in terms of PNM, I'm speaking simply about or specifically to Patrick Manning. Patrick Manning said to Trinidad and Tobago that Calder Heart smells to the high heavens, yet them bitches did nothing about Calder Heart. They did nothing about CLICO. They allowed for CLICO to run straight into the ground. They allowed for all state entities, almost every state entity, to run straight into the ground. They allowed for Petrotrin to close down. They closed down Asa Metal. They closed down Caroni Limited. They closed down every single thing that could possibly bring Trinidad and Tobago revenue. Then today telling us, you can't spend money on your credit card. You can't use a credit card. You could only spend 50 USD, 50 USD on an RBC card. And RBC is owned. They are from Canada. They have access to USD, but you can't spend it. But Price Smart, right here, what Price Smart? Price Smart could spend how much USD they want over and over and over again, and government will say nothing, will do nothing. PNM came and they tell you, agro-processing Maruga Tableland. Michelle Benjamin went down, almost nobody employed. Like, what's going on in this country? And all you sit down there in Maruga for 10 years and said nothing to them. And people in this country sit down for 10 years and said nothing to them. Gas went up once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. Y'all did nothing in Trinidad and Tobago. Had this been the United Kingdom, that bitch-ass administration gone long time. We run through about 4 prime ministers just as what the UK going through. But you will not ask for recall legislation. You will not ask for reform. You will sit your ass down at home and watch people like me on TV and say, yeah, you're talking the right thing for the country. But the moment we say, come out, that we protest and let we stand up and do something, your bitch ass at home will do absolutely nothing. And that is the problem with Trinidad and Tobago. So the banks could do you what you want. They could run you for a mock in Trinidad and Tobago. They could send up all sorts of interest rates and say, instead of 2%, we charge on 4%, 5%, 20%, and your ass will pay it because Trinidad and Tobago birthed delinquents for some weird reason. But had this been the United States, had it been the United Kingdom, had it been any other country in the Middle East, the people will riot against the very administration that they voted in and take them out. There's countries electing prime ministers based on freaking discord. Imagine that, discord. And it's simply because A, they wanted to ban social media. There are some countries that protesting simply because food had to get, or a government promised them jobs and they can't get jobs. So what they do, they vote them out or they riot them out. One out of the two. Us here in Trinidad and Tobago, we played this inbreed clip just now, but us here in Trinidad and Tobago, we go to public meetings and we listen to these SOBs, which stands for sons of bitches, talk to us and tell us that the reason why they lose the election is because we don't listen to the people of Trinidad and Tobago and we don't listen and that is we downfall. And those people clap. They say yes. They clap to that. They walk the streets clapping to PNM telling them that one of the reasons why we lose the election is because we don't listen. All right, we don't listen. And you clap that. You think they're listening today? Just take a look at him, Brett.
So you see, when I look at that, and I look at what we have done in this country in terms of the benefits that people get, why it is PNMers lose election? It's communication. It's all about communication. And it's all about keeping connected to our base and keep it connected to the people. That's the mistake that we make. That's the mistake that we make. And, okay, thanks. Somebody sent me something today. And I know some people might get upset when I refer to this, but that's all right. That's too bad. The person who lost the US election, Kamala Harris, has put out a book. And she spoke about what happened when she eventually had to come in as the presidential candidate in the United States almost at the last minute. And listen to what she's saying. It's as if we had all been hypnotized. The stakes were simply too high. This wasn't a choice that should have been left on individuals' ego, on individuals' ambition. It should have been more than a personal decision. And now for Ms. Beckles. When polls indicated that I was getting more popular, the people around him, that is Biden, didn't like it. None of them grasped that if I did well, they did well. They just didn't get it. And that is one of the problems that we faced in the last election, just like this. Kamala Harris came in almost at the last minute. She couldn't break away from Joe Biden. Joe Biden was already very unpopular. They asked her, what would you do differently to what Joe Biden did? And she foolishly said, I can't think of anything. Well, she'll lose, okay? And we know what happened after that. And we have parallels like that in the PNM. And the parallel I am drawing is the absence of democratic decision making. The absence of this democratic decision making. You see, if you properly analyze why we lost that election, we made stupid mistakes in 1995, in 2010, and in 2025. Stupid mistakes. We did not connect with the people and make decisions based on consensus coming from our base and from the general population. And that's our weakness as a party. That is our weakness. We don't listen. Stick break in our ears. I ain't ashamed to say that. But forget that. When you look at how we govern this country, we are 10 times better than any other political party. 10 times better. When you look at what we've done for people, we've done so much more than anybody else has done or could possibly ever do in the future. So going forward, Ms. Beckles, your challenge is communication and connectivity with the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And once you listen to them and you understand, you're bound to win. You're bound to win.
The poor will get poorer, the rich will take them own selves out of poverty. Maybe he didn't listen to his prime minister to say that. But it's not the same man that have apartments in Port of Spain, boy. He's not the same man that have apartments in Port of Spain, high-rise buildings in Port of Spain too. He's not the same man that raised the price of grapes, saying it's a luxury item, so you had to put taxes on it. Apples, luxury items, so you had to tax apples, grapes, and other food items because it's luxury items where your coal pot man up there in Port of Spain come out and tell the people to go back to coal pots and go back to riding bicycles, boy? Or they didn't say that or something? I confused, boy. I swear, people, them just confuse me. And then you have black people inside there clapping that bullshit. And clapping, saying, yeah, what all they say is all they don't listen to we, and that's why all they lose the election, because all they don't listen. They're listening now or something. Dog, is the same people that was around Keith Rowley as Colin Imbert, is Kareem Marcel, is you know, what is this man's name, boy? Is Edmund? Play that quick. Press pause. Quick. Pause. Penelope Beckles was there. Under the mouse. The man right across here. Right? So help me here. Because I want to know if it's somebody new. Look, Foster Cummins. I think that's Shamfa Kujo. Whoever the next idiot is at the end. The idiot called the opposition leader, some newbie in the party, like literally the PNM ain't change, you know. It's the same PNM from back 2015 to 2020, 2020 to 2025. Nobody changed. But the issue is now that you don't listen or they don't listen. Right? And that's what I'm telling earlier. Trinidad wouldn't stand up and say nothing at all. We will continue to accept them and accept all the nonsense that they give us and say yes, saving grace for TNT. But half all you're walking out at that meeting gonna either A, travel, or B, yeah, well, they can't afford TT, right? Should we even say that? But travel, or depend on a maxi, right? Play that. Half all you, pause it quick. Half all you inside there, traveling. Half of them come there just to see the minister and say, give us something now, minister, oh God, please. Not even minister, the MP. Give us something now, MP, oh God, please. My child ain't had nothing to eat, blah, blah, blah. Or they come to a PNM thing for handout. And you know, I ain't gonna blame all this stupid. But I ain't gonna blame all you. I ain't gonna blame this stupidity. I will say that Trinidad and Tobago for years going through the same thing over and over and over and over. And that is why young people just not prepared to accept, which is why a lot of young people not in politics. Because in politics, it's the same bullshit over and over and over again, and nothing changes. Nothing at all. You vote, you get them rich, they leave, you restart the process again. But not this time, brother. Not this time around. Stay tuned, Trinidad and Tobago. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll deal with some more.
Of students writing SCA in March 2026. Our Tuesday and Thursday class is filled, but we have heard your calls. Starting this October on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., we have a new class geared for success. We cover all 3 subjects: mathematics, English languages, and creative writing. We have perfected the art of pushing students to success. So if you want to get your child into one of these limited spaces, send us a WhatsApp message now at 370-9426 and book your spot before all are gone, and give your child the best chance at success.
Welcome to SNS Facade Group of Companies, a dynamic community-driven group serving multiple industries with excellence and integrity. At SNS Facade Supermarket, we're committed to community, providing vessel export delivery, custom food services, local delivery, wholesale solutions, fresh produce, in-house bakery, and premium meats. Discover relaxation reimagined at Sunset Beach Resort, with beachfront stays and dining that blends local flavor with ocean views, perfect for families and couples. At Cuts and Curve Fitness Center, where health meets lifestyle, with personal training, meal plans, a full gym, and on-site cafe. The SNS Facade Group of Companies, building value, trust, and community across everything we do.
I am Crystal Bevenash, the only presidential choice for Tutor Election 2025.
It's time to come together, together we are tutor.
I'm an educator since 1993. 32 years in this noble profession, from OJT at Valencia to ATP at Pumaka, T1 at Malabar, head of department at Valencia South, principal at Barataria, and now SS1 at Northeastern Education District. I've served both tutor and Ministry of Education at all these different levels throughout my years. Let's talk accolades. I joined tutor shortly after becoming an assistant teacher. I served as a staff representative, as a zonal convener. I served as the district executive of St. George's Education District. I also served as the Conference of Delegates, which is the highest decision-making body in tutor. To me, tutor and the Ministry of Education go hand in hand. They both work to serve the nation's children to ensure that they receive the best quality education that is available. And tutor would have allowed me to develop into the individual that I am today. In addition to that, I would have served as a principal, as the principals at the NAPSPA, the National Primary School Principals Association. I also would have been the president of the Association of Principals of Catholic Schools, the principal involved in Sports Council, actually the chairman of the Sports Council of the St. George's Education District, and many more. All of these leadership roles would have been guided by what I would have learned, the principles and so on, in tutor, and all the leadership roles tutor would have allowed me to be part of and grow and develop myself. My leadership philosophy is rooted in servant leadership. I believe in leading by example, not position. I also believe in listening before speaking, and I always put persons before myself. If elected, I intend to lead with humility, empathy, and strength. because I have experienced the same things that you have experienced as a teacher, as a principal, and now as a school supervisor. Allow me to represent you as your president, Crystal Bevan-Ash. I present myself to you as the next president of Tutor.
I am you, you are me, we are Tutor.
October 14th, it's time for the Tutor Rebirth.
Take a walk, gentlemen. Let's see what you got. should I be scared right now? So we're here in East Port of Spain, Trinidad, and when people think of Trinidad, usually they think of steel pan drums, carnival, celebrations, and good times. And Trinidad itself is a pretty rich country. They've got plenty of oil and gas deposits, and the GDP per capita here is 18,000. Unfortunately, over the past 15 years, Trinidad seen its murder rate go from about 100 a year to 500 a year. And that's mostly due to warring gang factions in neighborhoods below me like Laventille, which fight ruthless turf wars, sometimes over just one block.
So how did these gangs get so powerful? Many of them have gotten intertwined in politics, doing favors for politicians and receiving lucrative government contracts for public works and construction projects meant to help alleviate unemployment. Adding to that, Trinidad is only 7 miles away from Venezuela. In the past few years, it has reemerged as a major transshipment point for drugs to West Africa and the United States.
Border Patrol officers say they found 732 pounds worth of cocaine.
A recent bust in Virginia had over $100 million worth of cocaine that originated in Trinidad.
So much cocaine, we can't even tell you where we shot this video.
While the drugs only stop in Trinidad temporarily, the guns brought in as protection stay. Many on the island think that corrupt politicians and business leaders are heavily involved. And they say that this culture of corruption and impunity filters down to the street level where gangs do not fear the rule of law. We're on our way to meet Hal Greaves, a former actor now turned community activist who works with a lot of the local gangs. He's one of the few people who can move throughout all territories.
Hal, where are we right now?
We're in Canada, and this community has been devastated by the recent fighting between the gangs. Several of the families have been moved out. The buildings have been condemned. We could see.
Now, I remember shooting a video there in George Street, Port of Spain, where they were warring because some nonsense. But corrupt politicians, corrupt business owners are the ones that Vice News blamed for crime in Trinidad and Tobago. What was done about that? You could ask Alexander. He was featured in that video. But when you're asking Alexander, make sure to ask Alexander about Noel Diamond Jacob, Israel Clinton, the 3 men, and the other one that was executed. And then while you're talking to him about that, talk to him about Noella Graves, because she had a child. She was unfortunately executed by a stray bullet. What the country do about that, boy? Absolutely nothing. These people coming out to say, I support the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. I support the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. How you go support them when they start wearing body cameras? If they don't want to wear it, then no support. Government needs to pass legislations that forcibly put the body cameras on police officers. I don't care what them say. They're not working for themselves. You're working to protect the citizens of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, not yourself. So you kicking against wearing a body camera, that is not my business. If you don't like it, leave the service. Exit. One of the things that should be put in place as well is what Alexander should be clamoring for, is for police officers to be held accountable in court and not just have full immunity. It's madness. Meaning that no police officer now will just pull you over for nothing. And you know, I saw something today. I saw today at Mover Junction, 2 young children enter into a taxi. And then I saw a police vehicle pull up and a police officer jump out, gun in hand, and started to just search the children just like that because of how they look, and he didn't find anything on them, and then tell the driver to go ahead. See, that level of nonsense? That level of nonsense can't be happening. It shouldn't be happening. Like, what happened to probable cause or the state of emergency? That is what. Listen, before we have a lot of issues and nobody willing to talk about the issue because the support to the government or because the support to this and support to that, and it just wouldn't align with what they're saying. But they killed Gladiator for a reason, right? And it's because Gladiator was saying what he was saying with no remorse and no fear at all. None. That's why they killed Gladiator. That's why you barely have activists that are willing to say and do anything because they are aligned to something. Anywho, I'll leave it like that. But that type of nonsense can't be happening in Trinidad and Tobago. If we want to progress into a better nation, and we spoke about Singapore, if we want to get to a Singapore-type lifestyle without having to anyway, if we want to get that, people need to first be able to stand up and say no to any administration in power. Whether you support them or you don't support them, you must be able to stand up and say no and call them out for the nonsense that they're doing. And this conversation now with charging children as though they are adults, I say no, and I say no simply because we have not yet started to deal with the root of the issue in Trinidad and Tobago just yet. We have not yet started that. We don't even pay people a fair minimum wage in Trinidad and Tobago. Teachers still asking for a salary increase. They're still working on 2013 salaries. They get 4% is nothing. 4% increases were like $400. That is an increase. Well, politicians, Kamla Persad-Bissessar, Keith Christopher Rowley as former Prime Minister, they are walking away with thousands of dollars in pension. Over $75,000 per month is their pension. Per month, ministers walking away with over $23,000 to $35,000 every single month. Every month. That's what ministers walking away with. And if you're a minister, an MP, and they're on boards, or you're part of any type of thing that country doing, that Kamala put you on, or the Prime Minister put you on, that's salary, salary, salary. They're walking away with. That's what's going on. People walking away with thousands of dollars while the poor and vulnerable working for the minimum wage, $21.50, $25, $24, $23 an hour, while you taking home $78. Kamala's salary is almost $100,000 a month. We're not complaining, you deserve it. You 100% deserve it. But I think it's time to treat the people of Trinidad and Tobago a little bit fairly, or more fairly. Right? We shut down CPAP. I understand why. I support it 100%. But come after budget. You promise growth, you promise jobs. Jobs must come after budget because people going home. 100% people going home. All right. Budget around the corner, and we're looking at what the budgetary review is going to look like. I ain't asking for Kamala to fix the country in 4 or 5 months, but at the same time, we had to give up one for the other. And right now, you get rid of CPAP, you get rid of URP, you get rid of deforestation, get rid of a lot. And you're doing a lot, and I support the government 100%. I support them 100%. I do support Alexander and his daughter's statements here, not the Philip Alexander, the Roger Alexander, but the Philip too I do support on his statements, but the Roger Alexander statements I do support with the 14-year-olds. I agree with raising the age for drinking, right? Thank God I'm not at that age because I love to drink, but, no, that's true, huh? But, and I also agree with the age for smoking marijuana because ain't no way you're supposed to be smoking marijuana at that age, right? So I agree with raising that as well. But to take children to jail because they light a school afire, something going on at home. Telling you, many people might not agree, but charge the parent. See what's going on at home. Family services supposed to step in. We are one St. Anne's in Trinidad and Tobago. Imagine that. We need another one, right? We need rehabilitation. And I have always said it. We need to stop work Trinidadians the way we work in Trinidadians. The parents working 2 and 3 jobs just to supply at home. You have parents making children making children in Trinidad and Tobago. There was a time under 2010 to 2015, there's no joker. There was a time 2010 to 2015, there was a woman walking the streets giving out condoms. You remember that? You don't remember that? There was a woman walking Port of Spain giving away condoms, telling you, hey, use protection, right? That's illegal, by the way, right? It's called, harassment and stuff like that. But we need sex education back in schools for young people. Teach them about the human anatomy a little bit more because young people just literally coming out of school or in school to have sex, either behind the school. And you know about it, though. Don't watch me like you don't know. I didn't know about it. I didn't know what went on in schools. I come out of success haven't, and I can tell you what went on in schools, right? There are persons that literally go in the back of the school, in some classroom, wherever, in the movies, sorry, to have sex. And they're lying. Them thing happening, and the only thing the government don't know about it. They know about it, but they're not doing anything about it, and then you want to just blame the children when you never even step in to say, yes, no, this, that, or the other. You stepped in to do absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. You're not looking at what's going on with children when they reach home. You're not looking at what's going on with when they're in schools. And no real extracurricular activities now for 10 years. And I spoke about this already. Kamala Prasad, Bisesa 2010 to 2015, yes. Keith Rowley 2015 to 2025, nothing. So you could blame the child. That's one understanding. We campaigned and UNC campaigned significantly, even with the blasted girl with the banana ad that UNC ran. It was about progress. If you take out the racism that people say it have. If you look past that, UNC spoke about progress for young people, not charging young people. You'll understand what I'm getting to here? They didn't campaign on charging young persons. They campaigned on giving them hope, giving them prosperity, giving them a better future, not take you to jail and then take away your whole life because you made an error in school or you thought that was fun, that was entertaining, that you'll gain some type of credit, some type of school credit, and people would see a different way because you do this and you do that. Jesus Christ, what happened to music in Trinidad and Tobago? What happened to us doing more than just Trinidad or soca? What happened to us at least birthing young and new talented artists? What happened to Pan? Right, Pan is one thing. What happened to Pan? Shak, what's that? Huh? Say it loud. Parang, what happened to Parang? Music, all of these things that birthed right here in Trinidad and Tobago. Instead of charging the people, look at understanding first and dealing with the root cause of the issue. The nuclear household. How many households are like just extended family, where children are even living or seeing the parents on a daily basis? What happened to that? There's a lot that goes on. Ford Can, I remember we had a program where we spoke about that heavily. We spoke about it. We spoke about the type of household that Trinidad and Tobago is or has. right? They were teaching that in secondary school about the nuclear household, the extended household. You see, I went to school in a long time. Oh God, feeling bad. But that type of thing, you'll understand what I'm saying, right? That the household. Nobody paying attention to that. What happened to data in Trinidad so we could understand the type of population that we have, what our population into. Literally, pornography is one of the things that leading. Google come out and say that. Leading. Right now, if I search porn on Google, they go come up with, are you over 18? All you have to do is click yes. And then that is it. How that's securing children from watching pornography, right? What do you think they're going to do with the laptops when they get the laptops? I heard that and I did not, make sure I'm paid out there, I did not. I used to play Halo on the computer, right? That's all I do. You could have cracked MOE real easy. But there was a lot of persons watching porn on Kamla laptop. And that was one of the things that they came out in 2010, 2015 to speak about, right? That persons are utilizing laptops for the wrong purposes, which is why I could probably say no to it in the first place. But he was mad for that too. But what happened to life? Instead of just taking away a life, like a child's life in this regard, what happened to rehabilitation? What happened to that talk of rehabilitation? Again, Alexander, the answer from me is no. We should not charge young persons as adults. I am saying, let's get to the root cause first. When we get to the root cause and we have all of the avenues, you understand? We must create avenues for progression and allow persons to choose what path they want to go down. To say, if it is that we are doing X, Y, and Z for our children, and your child still decides to go and light a school of fire, then you will pay the consequences for that. But if we don't offer a different route, and we don't offer anything, and the child go and do this because they are forced to do this, then I do say charge the child. Parents need to train their children properly, and in order for parents to train their children properly and to raise their child properly, we first must ask, really, the government doing right? And a lot of persons just talk about, oh, you shouldn't depend on the government for this and government for that and government for the other. But everything in this place is owned by the government. The hospital, free healthcare, government. Free education, government. Subsidies in terms of traveling, government. Subsidies for food, government. Almost everything, government. So don't tell me we shouldn't depend on the government or we shouldn't look at the government and say, you must do better. If you want your nation to become prosperous, you must first do better for the nation. And that is how Singapore first became a first world nation, or on the road to a first world nation. Because Singapore was just like Trinidad and Tobago. Just like us, Singapore was. With a lot of corruption. A lot of people taking money and doing whatever they want. They even have a refinery. I think so. I think Singapore have a refinery. I think they do have a refinery. One out of the two. I could be corrected, right? And it just took one administration coming and saying, yo, we want change, and look at Singapore now, a model nation for the world. But they'll never tell you that because they don't want you to look at Singapore. But anyway, so that's it. That's what I'll say. I look forward to budget 2025, 2026. That's what I look forward to. All right? In other news, yeah, we're finishing 10 o'clock tonight, all there. I'm joking. But in other news, CPEP is back in court. The judge grants leave for 3 contractors to sue the state over dismissals. And Barry Padarat, Honorable Minister, said, we're not afraid. Let him bring the lawsuits. Bring your lawsuits. There's such a ghost gangs happening there in CPEP, and you all expect the government to just say, here, look, millions of dollars. All you're mad, boy. So bring it, and the government will dismantle all in court. Dismantle it. But I saw Kamala Prasad Bisesa, and this one is a promise that was fulfilled. This one is a good promise that was fulfilled. Prosthetic legs and stuff like that given out to persons. And I think this was a promise through China, this one, right, just now. This was a promise through China. All right, and I am 100% liking this. Kamala Persad-Bissessar has announced that Trinidad and Tobago will soon host a permanent Jaipur. That's it, right? All right, Jaipur foot artificial center for a total of $100,000 US. All right, she revealed that the organization had already donated machinery to set up the facility. So this one is a nice clip there on TikTok that I saw that I just want to play. So this is for entertainment purposes only. If YouTube, so no copyright intended, but take a listen.
You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. Raise me up to more than I can be.
This was India. My apologies. I think I said China, so I do apologize. This was India, so this is a great donation from the people of India and from the Indian government. And India is doing a lot. I ain't gonna lie. So India would have literally shut down Japan this weekend. This is from Dylan Page USA, so take a look.
Holidays in China are terrifying. The country is currently having their Golden Week national holiday spanning a massive 8 days. But when you have a light population of 1.4 billion and they're all trying to travel across the country to enjoy a vacation, boy, you get chaos. Bro, this has to be one of the craziest traffic jams I've seen in my life. How many lanes is even that? Oh, and that's just the people driving. Most people in China take trains, and because of that, their national railway saw a record-breaking 23.13 million trips in a single day. That has never happened before. That's like the entire population of Australia all getting on the train on the same day. And to make it even crazier, the Ministry of Transport are expecting to see a total of 2.36 billion passenger trips over this holiday period. Billion! And the thing is, China isn't even a stranger to this type of stuff, because in 2010, they experienced the worst traffic jam in history. It lasted 12 days.
Interesting. So massive things happening across the world right now. And when I say massive things happening across the world, I must talk about Cass, brother. Cass is being considered for a Grammy. Imagine that. I want to see Cass get a Grammy. I support Cass with a Grammy. And Coco T as well. Come on. Oh, go on. 1 second. YouTube, don't copyright, man. This is my people. I'm going to tell you that. They're my people at YouTube. So if you copyright me, YouTube, we go fall out. But this is it, boy. This is it. Cass, I support it, boy. Yeah, that's song.
When I'm feeling under the weather, you just make me feel sweet. Ice the cocoa tea, use the sugar, and together we are complete, darling. Heat me up. Only you alone can put fire back in the soul. Heat me up. I'm telling you I should lead a fire alone. Well, the more they tell me, the more I'm holding you close. I could never let you go. Miss so she
Yes, man, Cass, man. Watch now. The ladies love that one. The ladies love that one, but the ladies love Cass too much. If a man say you love Cass somehow, I don't know, boy. Trinidaders go wild. But Cass is for the ladies, man. Cass is the ladies, man. All right? I love Cass. Coco T. Oh, yeah, Coco T for Grammy. I support it. Trinidad, if we had to make noise for Kess, we had to make noise for Kess or no? We had to make noise for Kess. Let's see what else here. Let's see what else here tonight. Let's see. All right, I'm going to see what in pictures there for tonight. All right, I think that's everything we covered so far tonight, Trinidad and Tobago. So there is where we will wrap it up. All right. So I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. I think we covered everything, the U.S. strike, everything so far. The week has been real hectic, but the week has been just too much in Trinidad and Tobago at times. But let me make it clear, because even those in studio confused tonight. I support Kamala Persad-Bissessar. I support Kamala Persad-Bissessar. I just don't support dotishness from she ministers at times. The two Alexanders, something wrong. I support the two Alexanders, I do. I support one more than the other. And that is the one that's in housing. I support the one in housing. All right? But you see the one that's controlling security, the people have a problem with him. And if the people have a problem with him, I have a problem with him. And I had a problem with him long ago. You should have just get that to Gary Griffith. I might have said, all right. Anyway, Gary Griffith and the dotish self. Trinidad and Tobago, stay safe tonight. Enjoy the rest of your night. Monday show will be fire. Have a great night.